2, 1. Hey guys, we are Sean and Christy. This is Long Long Honeymoon, and we are coming to you tonight with a very special live stream. Occasionally, we have the good fortune to be joined by our longtime friend, Vinnie Lamica, who also happens to be one of the world's foremost experts on Airstream travel trailers and ceramic coatings. And so tonight we've got Vinnie's time for at least 1 hour, and we're going to try and patch Vinnie and also Brian Bowe in here. And hopefully we'll be able to have a great discussion about, let's see what we can get going here. Airstreams and ceramic coatings and some exciting developments that I think we want to discuss. Can you guys hear us is the next question.
I think so.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
All right, yeah.
We can. Can our audience hear Vinnie and Brian?
There's Clyde Williams. Good to see you,
Hi,
Clyde. Baby girl says hello, Clyde.
Thanks for joining us, Clyde.
There's Denise. Thanks. Great. Always great to see you, Denise.
Yes, thanks for being a supporter on YouTube too, Denise. We appreciate
Gary,
that.
Carl. We're just going to give some shout outs to people as they flow into the room. There's
Hi,
Sherry. There's Glenn. And we're really thankful that Jim Pratt is able to join us tonight. Jim is our resident bouncer who bounces the trolls who inevitably show up on our live streams. So we're going to field questions. If anybody has specific questions for Vinnie and also for Brian, but, you know, we might start out. I know that you guys have been working on something really special and you're really excited to announce it, that, you know, we've always associated what you've been doing with Northern California. And the most frequent question we've gotten over the past 6 months has been, what about all the folks on the East Coast who want to get their RV ceramic coated but
they can't make it to
they
California.
Can't make it to Vinnie's?
What is their option? And now they're going to have an option.
That's right.
That's pretty exciting.
Well, we've got a pretty exciting announcement. And,
yes, we do.
Yeah, so we recently flew out to Florida and found a great location in Tallahassee.
Yeah. Flew there and back in less than 2 days. That was fun, but worth it.
So you guys are going to be doing ceramic coating in Florida. So how is that going to work? Tell us a little bit more.
Well, it's going to be the facility. It's a completely indoor facility. It's a 20,000 square foot facility in Tallahassee, and we're going to have we're designing in a way where it's going to be turnkey, where our customers are going to come right into the facility, and we're going to take care of them inside. We're going to have, it's going to be air conditioned because we have to have it air conditioned
right
for a certain period of time, because Vinnie and I both lost maybe within about an hour, I think probably like 20 pounds. But we did.
Yeah, you think you know heat until you get to the South. You learn the true meaning of heat.
Right now, there's a picture of it.
Yeah, so you guys can see what it's going to look like.
So it's a large facility, 20,000 square feet. And like Brian was saying, we'll be able to bring the client right in to our wash bay. They can unhook there, and we'll be able to handle motorhomes, fifth wheels, and of course, Airstream travel trailers. And they'll be able to pull out through the rear door. So it's just, if there's inclement weather, they don't have to stand outside like they do currently here in Wilton. Right now it's 93 degrees and it hasn't rained in months and there's smoke in the air. So I guess that's unfortunately our inclement weather here. But
yeah, I think you could fit your current building inside that building and have plenty of room to spare.
We can. And for all the audience out there to know that we're designing this to accommodate, obviously, our Airstream customers and our love for Airstreams, but all recreational vehicles. As long as you are under your 14 feet or just a little bit under 14 feet, we can get you in, which it really entails mostly all recreational vehicles, including the big Class A RVs that you see out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Be Brave Wanderlust Travel asked a good question. Can ceramic be used on a vintage trailer, a 1965 trailer? And I know what you're going to say, but
I can answer that unless Vinnie wants to interject there.
Well, typically we don't do the vintage trailers because of the polishing process. And once you seal it with the ceramic coating, you're done. It's a permanent coating, and it's tough as nails. So you want to make sure the prep is so important. So since we don't do the polish, what does the customer do? They have it polished someplace, bring it to us, and if it's not quite right, then what do? We seal over it. So that's why we're sticking to RVs with a clear coat, a gel coat, some kind of coating that can keep the oxidation from forming before we apply the ceramic coating over it.
And I can interject a little bit there just to put a disclaimer on that. Is that's what got us into really focusing on Airstreams and developing our whole entire ceramic glass coating specifically for Airstreams, is because we were doing vintage Airstreams. We're polishing them out. We went through that nightmare of seeing how aluminum reacts to everything and corrodes and how volatile it really is. At that said, there was a point in time where we stopped doing the polishing of them, at least the vintage ones. We have done custom vintage Airstreams that have already been polished, but they really have to come to us in that completely, they're satisfied with the polish that it's sustained by or someone else that polished it for them. Yeah, it's got to be perfect to them, because that's the state it's going to be in after we glass it. And then if they were to do that, we would want to make sure they have it polished. They schedule it in a way where they have someone do the polishing, and they bring it to us.
Come right to us.
The short answer is, if it's just been polished, it's a good time to do a vintage unit. But if it's requiring the polishing, you guys aren't doing that.
No.
I want to give some shout outs. Hi to Paul Hooper. We got a lot of people joining us tonight from all over the country. There's Edward in Jacksonville, Florida. And Steph is in Ohio.
Thanks for being a supporter, Steph. We appreciate that.
There's Todd in Utah. Always good to see you, Todd. Hi, Jeff Sproul. And there's Jeff and Sue in Wisconsin. You can see we've got people joining us from all over the country. And of course,
Timmy is in Fort Wilderness. I'm so jealous. Although it's pretty hot to be in Fort Wilderness right now, but still a fun place. Anna in Traverse City.
Stuart in Idaho.
Hi, Stuart. And let's see. Oh, look. How about Sherry has a nice comment.
H. Matz wonders if you're going to have a pond stocked with bass like Vinnie has out in California.
There's alligators out there in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I think in the back.
Jason Nye asked, how long does the ceramic coating last before it needs to be reapplied? Good question. If you're going to coat your trailer with ceramic, now my understanding is it's basically a permanent coating, right?
Yeah, correct. It's a permanent coating. You nearly have to sand it to get it off. So great question. We covered that in our previous video for an hour. There's a lot of good information in there as well.
Right.
But we feel very confident this is going to stand the test of time.
Oh, yeah.
Scroll back up. Sherry had a good comment.
So that's a really nice thing, is that you never have to wax your trailer again once you have it ceramic. You're kind of done with that.
Sherry. Correct.
Sherry. Oh, wow. Sherry just picked up one of her trailers from you guys.
She said she's had 2 trailers ceramic coated from Brian and Vinnie. And she just picked up Bubba Thursday, and he's gorgeous. So, yeah, it's nice to hear from other people who have done it, to sort of hear what their, experience has been. So
Sherry
John Manley just said, anybody doing ceramic on the East Coast? He's from West Virginia. So, John, you may have missed the big announcement at the top of the hour. Vinnie and Brian are opening a ceramic coating location in Florida. So they're going to be doing it out of Tallahassee, Florida. So if you are on the East Coast, Tallahassee, Florida is your new destination to get your ceramic coating. So
yeah, and this is great for all you snowbirds that like to winter in Florida. Yes. All of you folks who like to go down to Fort Wilderness, go to Disney World.
Yep.
If you've never been to Tallahassee, it's a university town. That's where Florida State University is located. Mm-hmm. And so in a university town, there's always something going on. There are a lot of good restaurants and cultural events. And shout out to the Bowden family. We're missing Bobby Bowden today.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden passed away today. So sad day in Tallahassee for sure.
Yeah. Dale asked a good question. What are you guys doing now with the stainless steel rock guards that are on the front of the Airstream when you do the ceramic coating? Because I know that the ceramic was really optimized for the aluminum skin and not so much for the stainless steel. Is that still the case?
Yeah, we're cleaning the stainless steel rock guards, and then we're glassing them as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's something that's really a relatively new development, right?
We were just cleaning them and applying WD-40 to brighten them up, which anybody can do on their Airstream with a Scotch-Brite pad. Just kind of follow the grains of the stainless. But once we've cleaned it and there's no oils or any kind of resins that might be on the stainless, it's the ceramic is adhering quite well to it. So it really depends on the condition of the rock guard when we make that decision.
Yeah, and the challenge.
When we had ours done, we did not do the ceramic on our rock guards, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that we've seen with Airstream, just to Vinny's point, is that they come in with so many stains, and sometimes not all of them are equal. But we did come up with this really cool secret potion to help really clean off a lot of the gook that really gets in the metal without compromising the actual stainless steel rock guards.
Right.
So that's worked out where we've been able to now, because once we put a glass coating on there, we seal that in there. And we don't want to seal a bunch of ugly stains on there, but we've been able to, with our little secret potion, we'll call it that, we've been able to get it pretty clean. And then it's viable to go ahead and glass it.
Well, to that point, Paul asks, is the coating process yours and truly special to Airstreams? Now, originally, you were specifically focused just on Airstreams and developing it for Airstreams. But in the last few months, you started coating fiberglass RVs as well, right?
Are they different formulations for Airstreams versus other fiberglass RVs?
Yes, they're different. So we're working with a supplier, a very large supplier that has, with our help, developed the specific formula for the Airstream so that it can handle the clear coat, the bare aluminum, the lights, those types of things, and kind of work all inclusively. When we get into fiberglass, gel coat, those kinds of things, even a luxury yacht, there are applications for that as well. We spare no expense. So we are spending all the money and then some to get the very best product on the market. And that will be the case across the board.
I want to give a shout out to Cynthia Lamica. She's tuning in.
I know her.
Somewhere in California.
Hi, Cindy. So that would be Vinny's wife, for those of you that didn't catch on to that.
Cynthia. And shout out to Dan in Wisconsin.
Mike, who is in Whitefish, Montana.
Let's see. There's George in Texas. Yep. There's Mike
in Whitefish. He's a supporter. So thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Mike. Vicky in St. Louis.
Yes.
Mark in New Hampshire.
Kathy Cooper says hi.
Jeff is tuning in from Minnesota.
Very nice. His summer mood stocking spot. I love it.
See, Jungle Guy says hello, Mike. Mike and Mary from Space Coast, Florida. Vinny, we'll see you in Tallahassee to get the ceramic coating. They're buying a 2019 International, and this will be our first time RVing. Awesome.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
So you guys, you just have locked down the facility, and you're starting to ramp up and accept bookings now, right?
We are. In fact, there'll be a phone number that you can display. And also you can go to my website, vinniesairstream.com, hit the Contact Us page. You'll see the link for all appointments. If it's for the Tallahassee Supercenter, then go ahead and fill that out. If it's for repair work in Wilton and you're an existing client, go ahead and fill one of those out. I'm not taking repair work in Tallahassee, and currently I'm not taking on new customers, so I can catch up from this whole COVID thing.
Vinny has quite the bookings going right now. He's booked out through like the end of the year, I think, right?
So we're getting a lot of questions like from Todd and also Airstream Vagabond asking when the location in Tallahassee will open. I think you're targeting October.
We're targeting really November, possibly October.
Okay.
We definitely want to emphasize, people watching the video that you put together at the beginning of the year so they can get a lot of the questions answered.
Yeah.
And when they're making the inquiries after they've watched that, really try to gear them towards Vinny's website on that contact form to fill that in, so we don't miss anybody.
So we don't miss them. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a record of them. What we strongly recommend, if you have a date that you would like us to kind of look on the calendar, include that in there. You don't have to, but if you have a date, then put that in there, as well as let us know where you're coming from, and that helps us give an idea of
How to schedule.
how much we can maneuver with you and work with you, and obviously you can call that number as well, but ideally we want to kind of guide them to that portal on Vinny's website.
So we got a comment from H. Matz, and he says the Cougar fifth wheel on previous videos talking about the ceramic coating was H. Matz's trailer. My 3.5 month review is that the ceramic is fantastic, washing is easy, and the trailer looks fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, to me, it's not only the protective benefits of the ceramic, it's the ease of cleaning. That's a huge benefit because everything just washes off so easily.
Yeah, for sure. Jim Pratt wants to know when the Canadian location opens. Sorry, Jim, we're not quite there yet.
Paul wants one in the Midwest too, so I guess we got I have to roll up our sleeves. Got your work cut out for you.
Let's see.
So this is Mary asked a question that's similar to a previous question about ceramic coating a polished 40-year-old Airstream. I think the answer is you guys will do the ceramic, but you won't do the polish, right? And in fact, I think if you got your Airstream polished, that would be the perfect time to ceramic coat.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a perpetual polishing investment, and every couple of years you're going to keep polishing and then dumping thousands of dollars into it.
But the ceramic is a great solution to end that. Yeah. And it will seal it in. It'll just look beautiful.
Yeah. In fact, I think you'd be kind of crazy to get your trailer polished and not get it ceramic coated. I mean, Mark says, Vinny, tell everybody about the bird poop that hit our trailer as soon as you finished ceramic coating it.
Yeah, that was pretty stressful. And in the end, we went out there and Brian decided to tell him to go ahead and just whisk it away with a microfiber towel and some water, and it all came right off.
Yeah.
Boy, those darn birds just caught us right at the wrong moment.
They collaborate together. Birds wait for something clean and shiny.
They
go after it. That's not a hypothetical myth. It's a fact.
Oh, there's Patty and Daryl. Hi, you guys.
Patty and Daryl say hi, and they love their ceramic coating.
That's exciting.
Very cool. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Are you guys still in California traveling right now? They're from Texas, so they went all the way to California to see you guys.
Larry says the real OGs of YouTube campers. Hi from Southern California. Thank you, Larry.
Some people are asking about price. Like, is there a ballpark figure? Is there a per foot?
Especially on the because I know you're doing motorhomes and fifth wheels and all that. I mean, is that something that's every RV is just a little different, right?
That's a good question. Just the typical price is usually about $4K. It might be give or take a little bit after we have a discussion. What you have, how old it is, what condition it's in, but you're looking at budgeting about $4K for the whole entire process
for a 25-foot, and then it moves up in a couple $100 increments just to kind of cover our cost for the additional ceramic.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a big process. Like, how long from start to finish typically is each ceramic coating taking? In other words, like if people come to Tallahassee, they need to be prepared to wait a few days, right?
Right. We're still going to kind of set aside 5 days for that process. And if we can get it done in 3 days, and that's that would be amazing for them. But let's count on 5 days to kind of give us some room for
it's getting back to the customer in 5 days. On the fifth day, the most they're going to have that back in their hands.
It's okay to hit the road after we ceramic coat it, but it's nice to give it a day to kind of breathe and before they hit the road.
Okay.
Well, the good thing about Tallahassee, as I said, is it's a university town, and if you have 5 days in Tallahassee, I can pretty much guarantee you're going to find something fun to do. Yeah. Let's see.
Or you could always rent a car and drive to the beach because you're not that far from a beach in Tallahassee.
Yeah, if you can find a car to rent.
Yeah,
that's true. But if you're towing an Airstream, then you've got a tow vehicle that you're probably driving. So
We had a question about ceramic coating a fiberglass trailer. The answer is yes, you can. You guys are doing that now. TNT Walters is getting an escape trailer.
Great.
I'll throw this out there.
Creativity by Carolyn says they have she has an Airstream on order coming to the LA area in December.
So
Vinnie is kind of up the road a bit.
Yeah, so your West Coast location is going to be Vinnie in Wilton, California. So he's just south of Sacramento. And they just mentioned the cost, roughly around $4,000. That's for a 25-foot trailer. So price can vary from there depending on how big or how small you are.
Tracy's channel says, do you do any inside cleaning?
I think we actually
Ceramic
did.
is purely an outside treatment.
Yeah. No interior detailing. You're on your own for that one, Tracy. Sorry. Let's see.
Scott says he saw an Airstream motorhome. That's Scott and Nurse Katie.
Yes, Scott and Nurse Katie.
It's good to see your faces.
Yes. And to be reminded that your name is Scott, that we are remembering that correctly.
He's usually on his wife's account.
Let's see. Somebody says they hear in Redding, California, that stuff doesn't hold up. So maybe talk a little bit about your ceramic coating, your experience with it, how it's produced, the quality of it, how it's different from what people get on just a car.
Spray on type.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Not to get into the minutia, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much listed, so many great claims and not so great claims out there. So much stuff. And when we were working on developing the whole thing, we experimented and tested all sorts of ceramics and protective coatings on there. And in the end, what really was a catalyst to prompt us to really develop our own coating was because nothing out there was sufficient. So yeah, there's a lot of products that will claim they do amazing things and protect against, all the UV rays and the heat, but they just don't, or they're not sufficient. They don't protect as much. And so what makes us different is because we've formulated this to be the thickest, the most durable, the longest lasting ceramic glass coating specifically for Airstreams. Obviously, we made some alterations to accommodate fiberglass and other type of recreational vehicles, but it is designed to withstand the elements, the heat, which is a huge detriment to any type of recreational vehicle.
Yeah, right. Something that impressed me about the stuff you guys are using is basically military grade, same kind of stuff that the military uses on air equipment that's being deployed in the Middle
like
East,
Afghanistan, places like that.
So it holds up in some really harsh environments. I want to give a shout out to Matt right here.
Matt Christopher. He is probably our oldest, longtime subscriber in the long honeymoon world.
Yeah, Matt is the OG subscriber.
Yes, he is.
I mean, like he's been out there. I think I really sort of think he's the first subscriber to our channel. So it's good to see you still out there, Matt. At least the first subscriber that we ever interacted with, that would ever comment, and we kind of learned his name. So he has been with us since 2007. So thanks for joining us, Matt. We appreciate it. And one day we're going to meet you in person. So we have a comment from Briston who says, Tallahassee, here we come.
We don't know who that is.
Briston is our superstar that we have trained here in this facility. And he and his wife are actually relocating to the Tallahassee Center. And he's going to run that whole operation. So we're very proud of him. And this trailer right behind us, he and his partner did this one. I mean, he's just got it down. It's like a science. You got to, all kinds of variables can change the way it applies, humidity, heat, whatever. Yeah, he's our guy, and he's going to make it happen.
Briston has been training with you guys for like the last year or so, and sort of gotten this whole system down, and he's going to take on the jobs in Florida.
And he'll actually be
yeah, so folks, should know maybe when you go to the Tallahassee location, you'll probably be dealing with Briston. I would say we haven't figured out a way to clone Vinnie yet.
Yeah.
We're still working on that.
So like Matt asked a question. He says, if the ceramic coating is applied incorrectly, what type of warranty may be available? And I know that you guys are very meticulous about applying it correctly, because there's a bit of an art to it, and it's
There
not
is.
something that that's easy to do.
Yeah, having watched it be applied and watched that whole process, it's not just like wiping it on with a rag. Like, it is super detailed. So
If it's applied incorrectly, it doesn't leave here. He's
Right.
not gonna get it. Take it. He's not going to take it home and have that experience. We're going to take it off very quickly before it sets, and I mean that's within 20 minutes or so, and we're going to redo it. So he's never going to have that experience. If it leaves here with ceramic coating, it was done correctly.
Yeah, it's going to be done right when it leaves your shop. And I will say that I've sort of experimented with ceramic on some of my old cars, and I made a mess of everything I touched. Because I learned that there is an art to applying this stuff. And of course, you guys are using the best stuff it's possible to get. Let's see. Carolyn asked, you guys be posting a video of this meeting. My husband wanted to know about this stuff. Yes, this video will be archived on our channel. Like, if you go to our channel and look at our videos, the videos are differentiated into like edited videos and live streams.
mhm.
And so this will be our most recent live stream. If you log in there this next week, we do a live stream probably once every 6 weeks or something like that. This is our first time to have Vinnie on in several months. So Scott asked, how about ceramic coating a 16-footer?
Yep.
I guess
Is the call. Yep. You have to put that in the inquiry, and we'll talk about that too. We can go over that.
Actually, I think Sherry just mentioned she had Bubba done. Bubba's a 16-foot. They also have a 33-foot. So they had both ends
Oh,
of the
wow.
spectrum. Yeah.
Wow.
that's awesome.
Let's see. Steve says it will now only be a 5-hour drive to Vinnie's because California is 2 days away. Yeah, Steve, you're going to be pretty close for the old ceramic.
Tanya says everyone in California just breathed a huge sigh of relief. I guess the Vinnie's not moving to Tallahassee. You Californians are spoiled to have Vinnie there.
Yes. And again, reminding people, Vinnie will not be doing service there. This is strictly just for the ceramic coating. So,
Right.
yeah.
Sylvia asked a good question. She has a 95 Airstream travel trailer. Top long side panels have clear coat peeling and the finish looks spotty. Can this be repaired and ceramic coated? I mean, to what extent can that be repaired? And we talked a little bit about that in the video that we did with you guys.
Yeah, we just had one of yours, Sylvia, just come through last week, and unfortunately, those clear coats are past their life. And the really best way you really have to handle that is you have to get someone to strip all that clear off of there, usually with an aircraft stripper. It's not an easy process. It's kind of it's very caustic. And then you have to find someone to actually put another clear on it, or there
There are companies that do it.
Yeah, there are places that do that, or customers have had it where they stripped it off and then cleaned it, and then they brought their trailers to us and we've coated it. But you do find some splotchiness where you still have some clear left on the panels and some clear that was off, and you have the differential. You can see the differential where it was stripped off or where it was.
Yeah, it would almost have to be
splotchy.
polished to a bright shine to get rid of all that imperfection.
Yeah, depending on the severity of it.
Yeah.
Each one is different case by case.
Karen says, yay, the Tallahassee location. Great news. Links to Vinnie and Tallahassee shop. Well, it's such a new development. We don't really have links to a website or anything yet.
Right. But it would just be contacting Vinnie or Brian through the phone numbers that we've got listed in the description box of this video, or you can jot down this number right here and call them about setting up an appointment and asking whatever questions you have, because they can answer your detailed questions for your specific, answers.
HM Doc says, Vinnie, you fixed my rear stabilizer, and then without knowing, I gave me a veteran discount. Thank you. Now ready for ceramic coating and boogie lights. What's your availability? You're usually booked months out, right?
I am. For the ceramics are no problem. We can get you in the next few months, but for repairs, I'm into December. I feel bad about that, but it's just me, and I hear the factories into
They're
next
into
year,
February, so
Yeah.
you're ahead of them.
Yeah, so I feel so bad.
Now accepting appointments for 2025, right?
Harry DeArmond,
Harry DeArmond wants to bring his
also known as
57
my
Chevy.
dad.
Oh, hello, Harry.
Yeah.
He's ready to bring his 57 Chevy to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
We won't do a Ferris Bueller with it, but yeah, bring it. We'll gladly take care of it for you.
Johnny Lightning asks, what are the advantages of a ceramic coating over clear coat? Now, of course, we talked about that in detail in our video, but I think that ceramic is a pretty exciting new technology because of the way that it works. You guys want to address that? Like clear coat is like a 40-year-old technology, right? Ceramic is relatively very new.
Yeah, the clear coat, like the clear coat that comes on the Alcoa aluminum or on your Chevy pickup, it's there as a protection coat over the base paint. And often there's multiple colors to make a color, on a new vehicle. If it's a pearl coat or something like that, the clear coat just protects all that. But it's not a real hard shell like the ceramic protection offers. For example, the ceramic repels wax; it hates it. It would dull it. Whereas on your clear coat on your standard RV, you're gonna want to keep it waxed to make it shine, because it's gonna want to naturally dull. The clear coat resists anything sticking to it, dirt and airborne things. It's just going to offer a real hard shell, much thicker shell, permanent coating. So it's just going to make your life easier. Yeah, it's a little bit of money up front, but in the end, 10 years from now, you're going to look at the trailer after you washed it, and it's just going to look like it was waxed.
Yeah, and also to emphasize specifically for Airstreams, right? The Airstreams they do come with, like per Vinnie, what he said is, a thin clear film on it from Alcoa. But what happens when that clear film diminishes? It degrades. It's compromised. You can't. It's not like a car. You can't just sand it down and paint it.
Well, for example, filiform corrosion. That's the biggest thing that we fight, right?
Right.
And it can happen on the newer trailers. We see it, 2- and 3-year-old trailers, depending on where they live, are affected by filiform. Well, now we're sealing all that in, so it just takes that worry away when they do coastal camping or areas where they spray things on the roads and it sits on there for months at a time.
Yeah, you're eliminating a lot of the risks that come with compromised clear coat. But you look at your vehicles, clear coat is a softer, and the quality of clear coats are even going down, even though they're being more expensive because of environmental regulations as well.
Yeah.
And so they don't last as long. The elements really etch into them. You get pollutants, you get the sun that etches and degrades them, you get bird droppings. If you're out in California, we have an extra fifth season, which is smoke.
Fire season.
Ash everywhere, and that's a real thing. It doesn't matter how old your vehicle is or your Airstream or your trailer. It will reside on there. Moisture will mix with it, and it creates an acid, and it just literally just eating away at your surfaces. So in all due respects, it's a small investment to protect a very expensive investment. Yeah.
Glenn says they're in the Reading area and have been very pleased. A little wash, a little wipe, and everything's all good. From 30 degrees to 115 degrees, it's great stuff. Vinnie and Brian, their team has figured this out.
Nice. Well, you're welcome, Glenn. Thank you.
Let's see. Mark Wallace had a good question.
Hi to Keith in Arizona.
He said, how does the ceramic work around the seals on the roof, or do you do the roofs?
We don't. We don't do the roof, and we don't do the roof because ceramic and the sealant wouldn't do well together. The sealant would eventually break loose from the ceramic just because of the slippery properties that it has. So we don't do the white part of the roof on the Airstream, if that's what he's talking about. Your roof's still going to need an inspection every few years. It typically has to be redone at 5 years, depending on where it lives. But just for that reason, we don't want to compromise the surface coating on the roof so that sealants stick to it in the future.
So you basically do all the metal surfaces on the trailer and also the wheels, right?
Basically from the roof line all the way down. And Airstream did a wonderful job by starting to paint the roofs white. Yeah, which is great. 20 years down the road, if someone wanted to repaint this, because you're not going to repaint, your side panels, but the top, if you needed to, again, that lasts a long time. You could. Yeah. You could spend $40 on material and repaint it if you really wanted to. The roof.
So I love having the wheels done because it makes cleaning them so much easier.
You can just spray them off and it's just like done.
This is kind of an interesting question for Matt. He says, in different climates, and he says, for example, Alaska versus Death Valley, will the ceramic coating behave differently? or does the application need to be performed differently? And I know like Tallahassee is a pretty different climate from Wilton, for example, because of the humidity and the weather down in Tallahassee. So like from a weather standpoint, that's one reason you guys have this really big facility to work with, because you're going to be doing everything indoors, obviously.
Right. We have actually modified the solution to work differently, behave differently with humidity. So we actually have a humidity meter here, and the guys know what to use depending on how thick the air is, and the application process is a little bit different. It's a science. If we were to sell something like this over the counter, folks would try real hard, but they would make a mess of their trailer. They would regret it.
Yeah, it would be a nightmare.
It really takes.
Even for us, it's not easy being experts. It's still a challenge.
It really takes time and patience.
But the end result, it's going to perform the same after application and curing, but Alaska versus Death Valley.
It expands and contracts with the weather. It's no problem.
John asked how much weight is added to the Airstream, if any.
Yeah.
It's really negligible on the weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Paul says, sounds like you guys are booked for months due to distance and timing. I need to figure something out. Any recommendations?
Not for ceramics. We're open for ceramics. So they can book ceramics anytime. Now they can book for the West Coast, we're open to ceramics. The East Coast and Tallahassee, obviously we're trying to target from November and on.
Right.
And they can submit their inquiry to Vinnie's website through that contact form, put the date that they would prefer to come, and then we can work with them on making sure that date works or push them a week or so out.
Yep.
Mark says, our ceramic has been on for 5 months and it's fantastic. I've never felt a finish that's as smooth.
Oh,
I think everybody who gets it that I've talked to has been really happy.
Because once it's finished and you can touch it, if you just lightly run your hand down the side, it is the slickest. It's hard to even describe what it feels like because there's no surface that I can think of that is that,
Yeah, it's fun to touch
slick
and just
and
drag your finger over it.
And it's interesting when they're working in sections, or you compare an Airstream that hasn't been done to one that has been done, and you feel the one with no ceramic coating, and then you feel the one with the coating, and it's just like night and day difference. It's hard to believe until you feel it and see it for yourself.
Right.
Yep.
Shelly asked about, can the ceramic be done on hybrid fiberglass trailers? I guess hybrid is a brand of trailer.
I don't know.
I can't keep track of all the different RV manufacturers. I mean, by
we can
hybrid.
put it on fiberglass trailers. That's a yes.
Yeah, definitely it can be applied to fiberglass.
And Tommy wants to know, do you do the air conditioner covers on the Airstream?
We can. Yeah, we can do the covers.
It,
yeah, we can do the skylights, the covers.
Really?
Sure. Yeah. Fantastic vent, whatever.
Sean's like, wait, why did you do art?
But we won't. Only because those surfaces don't have to be resealed, and
right.
Just a component. So yeah, we can do that.
Glenn says tree sap doesn't stick once the ceramic is applied. Yeah, that's a game changer.
That was one of the biggest things for me this year. We were washing our Airstream a month or two ago before we took it out for a weekend trip, and it had tree sap on one side of it. And previously, to get tree sap off, you'd have to get the bone tool and you'd have to very carefully scrape it off, and then go back and wash. And the tree sap, no kidding, I took a wet rag and literally just wiped it off. And I mean, there was zero trace of it behind. It wasn't sticky. It just wiped off. It was, that right there should sell people if nothing else does, because that was just wow.
Yeah, to me, the ease of cleaning is wonderful. KO is asking for a phone number, so I'm going to put that up for a second.
And put Vinnie's website on there too.
Yeah.
And if you have technical questions or something RV related, I'm happy to sit here and answer a few.
Yeah, we've got some people that are wanting to ask some technical RV questions, so we'll get to some of those in just a second.
Yeah, we had some earlier. Let's see. Sherry says Florida is a smart location.
Lots of Airstreamers down there. That's right.
Scott asked, what other camper services will you be doing? It's going to be purely ceramic there, right? In Tallahassee.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want Airstream work, you're still going to have to go to California to see Vinnie.
A lot of people have been asking about price.
And again, you said a 25-foot camper averages about $4,000.
Correct.
And it can go up from there if you're bigger, and I don't know about going down if you're smaller.
Yeah, it does. It reduces the cost as it gets smaller.
Yeah. So just send them an email or give them a call, and they'll give you, a price for your specific Airstream or RV, whatever.
Nancy asked if you would do the roof on a Casita trailer.
Like a molded fiberglass.
Yeah, so we would do the whole entire thing for those, the roof and everything.
Oh, wow.
I think that would be pretty awesome. Like if I had a Casita or Scamp or something like that, and have the entire thing done with ceramic.
For sure.
Yeah, we've done it. We've done it quite a few.
HM Doc says, not sure if you answered this already, but can you do the tow vehicle too, along with the Airstream?
Yeah,
So is it only going to be RVs, or are you also going to do some tow vehicles, or how's that going to work?
Okay, so we have a special. I won't say it over.
Upon request.
Yeah, upon request, exactly. We do have a special for those who want their tow vehicles done. I'd be a little hesitant to say it all on this, but yes, we do. We do a pretty significant deal for the customers.
Our focus will be RV, larger units than cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Nancy says she'll be making her appointment.
So be looking for Nancy.
Last trailer, I think. So.
Johnny asked if we're going to the Airstream rally in Michigan.
We are not.
Not really planning on it. We ran into a couple issues this past week. Honestly, we
did
expected
our shakedown cruise. We were supposed to leave on Friday. Somebody was asking when we're leaving to travel. We were supposed to leave Friday. During our shakedown cruise, we discovered a little problem that we've got to get corrected before we can leave. Hopefully that's going to happen Monday or Tuesday. So we hope, fingers crossed, to hit the road either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what day they're able to work on our camper.
Yeah, so our next video should be from the road, hopefully.
Yes,
so
fingers crossed.
Here's an RV tech question. Tracy says, we just got a 2021 25-foot International, very nice, with the on-demand water heater. Is it safe to camp in the fall when temperatures slip slightly below freezing at night only? We don't want to cause any damage.
Sure, yeah, you can have your water heater on during those. I mean, if anything, the water heater is warm, so it's naturally aids to that drop in temperature. So yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all, would it?
It'd be worse if you left it off.
Exactly.
Cool.
Let's see. Vinnie's website address.
Do we have his web address? We've got his phone number.
It's just vinniesairstream.com.
All right.
Just typing it in.
All right.
Stay tuned.
All right, there
we
go. So just vinniesairstream.com.
Well, typing on the fly there.
Let's see. It says, I'm an air conditioning contractor here in Reading, and I recommend RVs with black covers to take them off and get white. Heat from black does not help the air conditioner. Yeah. Airstreams have white covers, or sort of like a creamy color for the most part.
TNT asks if there's anything you need to do to maintain the ceramic coating.
Don't wash it with sandpaper. I mean, we always tell people that. Some basic washing techniques that we also provide the customers, and that might be good for another segment that we should do.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Someone suggested that earlier. I saw.
What product do you recommend people wash with after they have a coating?
Yeah, and what about pressure washing ceramic coated trailers? Are there any issue with that, using a pressure washer?
Nope, not at all.
I mean, you want to use common sense when you're using a pressure washer.
Yeah.
Because you can damage seals, you can force water in places it's not supposed to be wet. So, but just as kind of like a broad brush, just to get most of the debris off. But be careful when you drill down with pressure washer, not because of the ceramic, just because of still your trailer, that you're forcing that water pressure into all kinds of places.
Right.
And Christy, when you come out to California, once your axle's fixed, we can do a video segment on washing.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And what product do you usually tell people to wash with?
Dawn dish detergent.
Is it Dawn
right?
dish detergent?
Yeah, any soaps are fine, really.
Yeah.
Um,
Because we've
I like
said that before, and we've had people say, "Oh no, there's no way you should use Dawn dish detergent." And I'm like, I promise that's what Vinnie said to use.
Yeah, just a light mixture of it, and it works great. It cuts all the grease and dirt, and the ceramic just gets clean, and that's all the care it needs.
I want to answer a couple of tech questions. Carl says he has water from our storage tank smells like sulfur.
So is he talking the hot water, or is he talking just his
like
standard
your freshwater tank,
water?
Carl? You might need to give us some more info.
Yeah, something we just did with our freshwater tank was cleanse it with bleach. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain formula. I can't remember.
It's like there's a certain mixture for however many gallons. Like for our 54-gallon tank, we put 1.5 cups of bleach in with the 54 gallons, filled it completely, let it sit for 24 hours, and then flushed it through at least twice. We may have flushed it 3 times.
Yeah, you kind of want to put the bleach in your fresh water holding tank, run it through like your sinks and your shower lines.
So you can smell it inside.
So it's inside those lines, and then let it sit overnight ideally, and then flush everything out really good, like with a couple of good full.
But if your gray water tank is what's smelling like sulfur, it can be when water sits in there a long time and you haven't emptied your tanks, that sort of rotten egg smell can start to come up into your camper, especially as that tank gets more and more full. So once you flush it and you go to refill it, there are actually like gray water sanitizing tabs that you can get that are sort of like air fresheners for your gray tank.
Yeah, Walex makes those, those treatments.
You just drop one in your shower and sort of spray water over it, and it goes into your gray tank, and it will help that.
I want to quickly thank.
Don't forget the hot water tank as well. That needs to be flushed.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The water tank for your water heater.
Yes.
That will also give you that rotten egg smell over time. So you want to flush that occasionally.
Okay.
I want to give a thank you and shout out to Sharon. Thank you for the super chat.
Oh, yes.
Always
thank
appreciate
you, Sharon.
it.
We appreciate that.
Sam says he has a 2000 Airstream Safari. I have a gray or freshwater tank leak where liquid is getting trapped inside the black protective box underneath the rig. Can you offer some tips on how to assess and repair this problem?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So if it's the freshwater tank that sits, the bladder itself sits in that plastic tank surround that holds it all up there. It's typically one of the plastic welds that either delivers the water up to the water pump or the fitting that leads to the drain. And just over time and flexing and tank moving around, you can get a small crack and it will start to leak into that housing and find its way out. And if you're creative on that model, you can go down from the inside where the water pump is and look down there with a mirror, and you might be able to see where the water is leaking, make a decision if you got to replace the tank. If it's a metal surround, there'll be an inspection cover like the one that you have on yours, and you can kind of get in there, and maybe it's the drain. You can get in there and replace it, the hose, the fitting. Maybe you can seal it with some kind of sealant so you don't have to replace the tank. But yeah, the plastic tank surround's tough. Not much you can do but drop it.
Terry asks a very pertinent question because we've had this problem too on Airstream. He says, is there any routine maintenance you can recommend on the folding stairs on Airstream trailers? He notices some bolts in his 2021 Classic are backing out. So he's got basically a brand new trailer, and he's already having issues with the steps.
Yeah,
we lost our lower step last year.
Yeah.
We just took it off.
Those steps they require some maintenance and some lubrication. You know, the tire throws all that sand and gravel at that step the whole way out here. So they need to be cleaned and they need to be lubricated. If you find any bolts that are loose, it's a good idea to back it out, clean it up, put some Loctite on the threads, snug it up just so it still has its function and keeps the bolt from coming out again. But they do require, they're fancy, but they do require some maintenance.
Yeah, those 2021 Classic steps, are those automatic steps?
No.
Ours is a manual step.
They're mechanical.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, good.
Fancy.
Mechanical usually lasts longer.
Sharon wants to know, she said, would our Airstream be stripped of its clear coat before bringing it in for ceramic coating, or would you prep it there? So just clarify that you do not strip the
Yeah, it goes
clear
over
coat.
the clear coat.
Right. We polish it. We take all the Mars out of the finish, any scratches that we can remove, any filiform, anything that might be on the surface that we can pull out. Typically, if you can feel it with your fingernail, it's too deep. It's gone into the metal, and that's going to be there. But we can certainly soften that and clean it up, and then the ceramic gets applied over that.
And polishing the Airstream, our process is much different than polishing a vehicle. It's a totally different process. We have to be extremely careful on how we do that, and that's another part of our process when it comes to Airstreams and what we've been able to hone in and making sure we're not compromising the Airstream panels in any way, but at the same time being able to put it in the best condition it possibly can be before we glass it.
Right.
Let's say goodbye to Matt.
Yeah, Matt's signing
Says,
off.
thanks for checking our blog. And
Yep,
that's what I used to
right.
say at the
Sean
end
used
of
to always
videos.
say that.
Endless Skyway Adventures asks, is there any issue with ceramic coatings and vinyl graphics, like on the fiberglass trailers and the RVs?
Loves it.
Yeah, in fact, as we all know, it doesn't take long for fiberglass in general, as well as the accompanying decals, to fade quickly in the sun. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, definitely when we do it, we're just going to glass over not only the fiberglass, but also the decals, and definitely helps prolong the life of those.
No, it'll look great. It'll look really great.
That actually really helps preserve the graphics, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Correct.
And something people need to know, if you have stickers or anything like that, like on your windows, like we had our Long Long Honeymoon logos on our front and back windows. So we actually removed those before they ceramic coated, because whatever they put ceramic coating on, it is there forever. So there's like no removing it after that. So
Yeah.
the logos that we had on there had been on there for several years, and they were kind of dirty around the edges, and you couldn't really get those clean at this point. So we just removed all of them, and we may add them back. We've sort of enjoyed not having them on, just like when we're laying in bed looking out the window, we don't see a logo anymore. We just see the view. So I don't know. We're debating putting those back on or not. But just for people to know, if you have stickers all over your windows, if you get it ceramic coated, they're there forever.
Right. Dale says the rubber seals around his windows have spots that do not come off with regular washing. Any suggestions? So for the rubber seals around windows, any way you can clean those up?
I don't know what model he's talking about.
I wonder how old it is too.
It might have to be, you might have to clean that old sealant out and apply new sealant. Is this an
It's like the
Airstream?
rubber gaskets I think he's talking about, right?
He's saying rubber seals around the windows. So I'm not sure if he's talking about an Airstream or not.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm looking
the
at
seals can be replaced if it's the rubber seals on an Airstream. I imagine it can be replaced on nearly anything. Some of the older windows, the seals start to dry and crack, and that's not available. You have to replace the whole window at that point. But yeah, we'd need to see it.
I used to have a product called Gummy Fledge, and it was made specifically to keep rubber seals fresh, like on German automobiles. It's like a German product. So if you have a newer seal that you want to keep fresh, check out Gummy Fledge. Jason asked a question he says is odd, but I think it's a reasonable question these days. In the solar era, can solar panels get ceramic coated for protection? I mean,
yes, just upon request for sure.
Okay, very
we
interesting.
have done it with requests. We've done it. I don't know. There could be a solar expert. I install solar, but I'm in no ways an expert on the glass itself, and if that hinders some of the rays coming through. So I don't know, but you could put the ceramic on it for extra protection, and the ceramic would stick to it. So
Yeah, we've been doing it and haven't had any issues with it upon request.
Well, see, a big issue, a big problem with solar panels that we've had is dust and dirt that will get stuck on them, and it really reduces the effectiveness of the panels and how much electricity you're going to actually get. So I would think that ceramic would be a great benefit for those. If for nothing else, just some of the dust and dirt is not going to stick to them, And they would
then
be easy
getting
to
it
clean.
off, it would be a lot easier to clean.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to have dust and dirt on the panel, I'd rather have the ceramic. That's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and most people are using solar. You know, if you're sitting down in Quartzsite,
If
Arizona.
you're on BLM land in the middle of,
Yeah.
the desert.
Like if you're really boondocking.
Oh, thank you, Terry Driscoll.
Yeah.
We appreciate that
Shout
very
out
much.
to Terry. Thank you very much for the super sticker. We appreciate it very much. Terry says, thanks for answering my question. Love the videos. Looking forward to my ceramic coating. Call me, Brian.
Well, I think I have your number in my phone.
Let's see.
Thank you, Joseph. Says,
thank
thanks
you
for the
so
beneficial
much.
content. Beautiful couple. Always entertaining. Wow.
What a sweet
thank you.
thing to say. Thank you, Joseph. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, if anybody has any more RV questions, Vinny can chime in and answer.
Yeah, we told Vinny we demanded at least 1 hour of his time. We're coming up on that hour
Yeah,
pretty
we got
soon.
like 5 minutes left for Vinny.
So if there are any specific questions for Vinny and Brian, Carolyn says, greetings from Naples, Florida. Hi, Vinny. My ceramic coating is amazing. It makes cleanup a piece of cake, and I love it.
I'm glad.
We didn't answer this previous question.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Streamin' and Dreamin' says, how do you stop your window rubber gaskets from sticking, especially after using the 303 spray, which makes the rubber stick to the window when it gets warm? So
Yeah.
what do you tell people?
The 303 is a little greasy, so you want to clean those seals with just some, warm soapy water, and then dry them with fresh water, and then spray just a clear silicone on them. And the
So
silicone.
just a
is not-
clear silicone.
Yeah, the 303 might grab a little. It's going to be a little sticky, and whereas the silicone's going to just dry to like a powdery finish. But it is what it is. Those windows are so tight.
Yeah.
That the rubber's going to stick, and you almost have to do it every year so that you don't have that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do it before every big trip. We go around with
Use
our
that
little bone tool
carefully. Yeah.
and pull them open, and yep.
Shout out to Kyle
And
and to Terry.
Joseph.
And Mark says Vinny is awesome.
He's done so much for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vinny's hard to beat.
And I want to give a big thanks to Joseph for the
Thank you
super
very much,
chat. It's very
Joseph.
generous. We appreciate it
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
And I'm really pleased that our content has been beneficial to you. Like when I'm trying to
Yes.
think of video topics, I always think, what can we do that will hopefully help other people?
Right.
That's why, we always like to share our mistakes when we make a mistake and a goof and we make a lot. That
Yeah.
it might help you guys avoid those mistakes. And when we do something right, we'd like to share that too. So thank you very much, Joseph. It's very kind of you.
Denise says they use silicone on their seal, but it seems the windows always stick. Bone tool always at the ready. Yes, Denise, I agree with you.
Yep.
We always have our bone tool ready. And usually before we leave on a trip, I try to go around and open all the windows with the bone tool to make sure that they will open, because if you haven't opened them recently, then they will for sure be stuck, at least in my experience.
Gary says that Vinny replaced our subfloor a few months ago and suggested that I replace my entry door hinge pins. Vinny, did you adjust entry and screen doors? Gary and Krista want to know.
I do adjust them. Yep.
The doors are kind of your thing, right?
I
He's
love doors.
The door
Yeah.
whisperer. If you got a wonky door that's not closing right, Vinny can fix it.
Can you install an inverter in a 25-foot 2000 Safari?
I can.
And he wants to know if you can recommend a location and approach. His circuit panel's under the bed and main electric is under the couch.
Yeah, have him give me a call. We can talk about it.
All right. Let's see.
Denise says our water pump quit working with no warning before our last trip, and the dealer had one available for us at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Wow. That's
You got lucky.
some good turnaround.
We've had water
there.
pump problems before. It's no fun.
Yeah. Vinny has talked to us on the phone with that problem before. Poor Vinny.
Here's a good testimonial from Deborah. Says we picked up our Airstream yesterday from Vinny after having the ceramic coating applied, drove it home, which is over 700 miles, and there's not one speck of dirt or bugs on our Airstream.
Wow,
Oh,
that's impressive.
it was such a long drive for them. They drove up here. It was so hot and smoky. They decided to just drive home from out to LA. So
Right.
I think they got home at like 5 a.m. after coming I don't know how they did it, but
Wow.
that's a great test for the ceramic. So
Yeah,
it
for real.
is.
thank you, and you're welcome.
So, thank you, Sam,
thank
for
you,
the super
Sam.
sticker. We
I
appreciate
appreciate
it very
that.
much. Sam says he is in New Mexico. Not the Bay Area.
Well, maybe you just need to make a little trip to California again.
Sharon says, thanks for a great video. Once I get my RV back from the shop, I'll be scheduling an appointment for the ceramic. Well,
Very cool.
pretty much guarantee you will love it. Let's see. Karen asked a good question about new Airstreams. But she's asking, what is the new substrate material that Airstream is using in the classics? It's not plywood any longer.
Right, it's a new fiberglass type floor. Is that what she's talking about?
I think so. The subfloor, right? The composite subfloor.
Yeah, we'll call it composite.
Which is a pretty nice upgrade, is it not? Because it removes the risk of subfloor rot that has plagued Airstreams for many generations.
Right, now the water, if it gets wet, it's not going to be affected by the moisture, and yeah, it's going to stand the test of time for sure. One less thing for me to do.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to
thank you,
Denise.
Denise.
We appreciate it very
that.
much for the super sticker. It's very kind of you. Always good to see you.
Oh, Kyle just wants to know if everybody's having a good day so far. Well, that's a sweet question. I hope everybody's having a good day so far.
I think we are having a good day, and we've had a good chat. So we told Vinnie that we would talk for an hour. So I think we'll probably sign off pretty soon. Anything else you guys want to say about your ceramic coating and your new location?
You know, we are just so excited and blessed to have this opportunity. It's a big leap for us, a leap of faith, but we've got a great product and a great following, and it's not snake oil. It's the real deal. So we can sleep well at night knowing that we're not tricking anybody. It's just really special. And you can hear by the calls coming in already that folks are experiencing it, and they're saying the same thing. So I'm just not going to endorse anything that's garbage. So I tend to go with what I use myself. And if something wasn't working, I would let people know, hey, we're not going to use these tires anymore, right? There was a time I was going for Maxxis tires. I'm like, these are the ones. They're not. We go with what works, and this really works. And I think we'll benefit from it.
Yeah, and
I will say, just from personal experience of us working with Vinnie over the many, many years that we've been working with you since 2012, I guess.
Yeah.
There's so many times that we'll ask Vinnie about something and we'll say, oh, should we do this? Should we do this upgrade, or should we buy this or whatever? And he'll say, no, you're wasting your money. Don't do that. He says it more times probably than he says, sure, you should do that. And to me, that tells you how honest and straight up Vinnie is in business, because he could sell people a lot of things that they really don't need, but he's not that kind of guy. So he's only going to sell you something that he himself would use, that he would put on his own trailer, that he's tried and tested and can, put his name on. So if Vinnie puts his name on something, to me, that's like, making it the gold standard product for Airstreams. So
thank you.
Yep. Vinnie's recommendation counts for a lot. And I think all the different testimonials that you see from the people who have gotten the ceramic says a lot as well.
Absolutely.
And I'll throw this one thing out there too. It's customers never going to regret doing it. They'll usually regret not doing it.
Right.
Right.
That's not a sales thing. It's just reality.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, if you're getting a new Airstream, the best time to do it is right when you buy it, before it has any chance to develop any of that filiform corrosion. Because again, once you get that, there's only so much you can do to fix that.
Well, we can stop it though. So I mean,
you can stop it for sure.
Still going on, we can stop it. Yeah, there might be a little blemish there, but it's coated, and the worst is over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The fiberglass trailers, we've been seeing a lot of them come through. Just a couple years old, the fiberglass is all chalky and oxidized.
Yeah.
Fiberglass just doesn't withhold up very long against the sun. So if you get a new fiberglass trailer, they're not an Airstream, but it's
all right.
Still your trailer.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of money.
Why not? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Airstream Vagabond says thanks. They're towing into Montana from Washington, and they love their ceramic.
Be
We've been
safe, you
following
guys.
you. Yep, great.
Give a shout out to Mary Hamilton,
Hey,
who's
Mary.
in Grovant. We're jealous.
Mary actually
We're on
lives
our
not
way.
far from Vinnie. She lives in Jackson, California.
That's right. Yeah,
And
we wish
she's
we were
in
there too,
the
Mary.
Grovant campground right now. So enjoy your time there, Mary. We're jealous.
I want to say thanks to Streamin' and Dreamin' for the
Thank you
super
very
sticker.
much. For
We
the
appreciate
super
it very
sticker.
much.
We appreciate that a lot.
Sherry wants to say that Bubba was due for ceramic coating. And when it came time to apply the product, Vinnie and Brian were not 100% pleased. They stopped everything to speak with the manufacturer to get the product absolutely perfect before they applied it. Vinnie will not let anything leave his facility if it's not perfect.
Yes
Yep.
and yes.
That is a true story. That is a
Good
true
testimonial, yeah.
Nancy wants to know what sort of prep would have to be done before getting her 2019 Casita ceramic coated.
You guys do the prep,
We
right?
do the
Yeah,
prep.
we do
Yeah,
prep.
we'll clean it. We'll do all the surface correction on it, and then we'll coat it.
Yep.
So,
So
you
you
just
just
have to
gotta
bring
show
it,
up,
make an
Nancy.
appointment, and bring
Yep.
it to us.
Yeah.
Dottie says Brian coated the Airstream and F250. Got home to Ohio yesterday, and Tom watched it this morning. Everything was easy and shiny bright. Great
You guys
job.
finally made it back.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I know that you need to run and get back to ceramic coating trailers. don't you?
Well, we sure
Thanks.
appreciate the time.
Thank you
We
very
Yeah,
much.
we
appreciate it.
always
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys taking your time to come in and share your expertise with our community.
Absolutely.
We look forward to this type of chat in our new location. Maybe you guys could pull in with the Airstream. We could take you through the whole process so people are familiar with where it is, how to get in, how they're greeted, how, just all the steps. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Todd says, with a name like Vinny, how could you not trust him? That's
Right.
Yeah, we'll look forward to broadcasting maybe from the Tallahassee
Yeah.
facility or shooting some video down there.
Maybe in like December-ish.
Yeah, once we get the ball rolling.
January, something like that.
Great.
All right.
And we've got one more super sticker.
Yep.
Thank you, KO.
Thank you, KO.
We appreciate it so
We
much.
appreciate it very much. Thank you for the super sticker. Hope everybody's enjoyed our chat, and we'll let these guys go.
Goodbye, Brian and Vinny. Thanks again.
Thanks,
for talking
guys.
with
We
us.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it so much.
So I think we're probably going to wrap up
Yeah.
because the focus of this chat was the tech talk with Vinny and Brian. Of course,
Right.
focusing on the ceramic. I mean, that's really Brian's, original baby
Right.
and his
And then
expertise.
he joined with Vinny, and then they made their special concoction for the Airstream trailers. And they've been doing this for a few years on Airstreams. And so they've worked out all the kinks a long time ago, and they've got it down to a science. And it's an art. I mean, we've seen them do it. So
And we may
There's no
actually have
joke.
some pretty cool long honeymoon stuff going on down in Tallahassee at this facility.
yeah.
More will be discussed in the future. We'll let you know. So thank you,
Thanks,
Patrick. He says,
Patrick.
great show.
Thanks for being a supporter.
Thanks,
We
HM
appreciate
Doc.
that.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Rick.
And Catherine,
And
thank
Catherine.
you for being a supporter. We appreciate
Yeah,
that
thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thanks, Johnny Lightning. Always good to see you.
And he always says, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate that. That helps in the weird YouTube algorithm of things. So yeah, if you can give us a thumbs up, we appreciate that.
Nappy asked about the Champion 4500 inverter generator. I'm just going to quickly answer that I have not reviewed that yet, but I'm planning on probably reviewing it in November. The issue we have with it is it won't fit under our tonneau cover, I'm afraid. So that's a big issue for us.
Yeah.
Is we need a generator that we can pretty easily tote around in the back of our pickup truck. Otherwise, I think it looks great. So thanks, John Manley. Thanks, Mike.
And
Thanks,
hopefully
Lori.
next weekend we're going to be on the road finally.
Thanks, Streaming and Dreaming. Yeah, we'll be on the
So-
road. I mean, it's the problem with doing a
Fingers
shakedown
crossed.
cruise is you might find a problem, and we did find a problem, but we're going to get it addressed before.
Hopefully
we-
Monday, if
Yeah.
not Tuesday.
So before we hit the road on a huge trip of unknown length, we're going to make sure all systems are go. And Carl says, be safe on your new adventure. That is the idea.
Yep.
And
Denise
Denise,
says-
yes, a remote start also does remote stop.
Yes, ma'am.
And Johnny says, come to Michigan. We just might. I bet
Yeah.
the weather's great there right now.
Michigan's a great state, so lots of great camping there.
So, all right, guys, thank you as always for tuning in. This has been yet another episode of Long Long Honeymoon, the longest running RV show on the interwebs.
If you
Or so they
haven't,
say.
please click the like button down below. Give us that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you be an official member of Loho Nation. And if you want to be reminded or notified when we do videos, when a new video goes up, hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button. And until next time, oh, one more thing. Thank you, Jim Pratt, for being our troll moderator. I don't think there were any trolls tonight, so maybe you had an easy time of it, or maybe you were just so quick on the draw, I didn't ever get a chance to see them. Either way, we appreciate it.
Victor's comment is almost slightly inappropriate, but he says you're hot.
Well,
so
thank you, Victor.
I will accept
I will take
that.
a compliment when I can get it. And Scott Weissman just gave us a super sticker.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
We
it very
appreciate that.
much. Nobody ever says your husband is hot. What's
I
up
think
with
you're
that?
hot. That's all that matters.
Hot. I'm not hot. I'm lukewarm.
He's hot.
I'm lukewarm these days. Thank you,
All
Denise.
right.
Thanks, Jason, Poodle Professor, and
That's a
Scott
cute name. Thank you, Scott.
and Mark. All right.
Yes. Good
Until
night.
next time.